Welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with CXOs and business leaders over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic has been immense. These business leaders have been constantly monitoring myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stay on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed to create a deeper connection with them and to get a sense of what business leaders of several prominent companies do when they are not in business mode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Rahul Kathare, Global Head of Information Security, Governance, Risk, Compliance, and Audit at ZS Associates India. Rahul, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you. Thanks, Ivan. It was a great introduction. Thank you.
You're most welcome. The pleasure is all ours, Rahul. So Rahul, pandemic, work from home, 18 months back, gradually moving into a balance between work from office and work from home.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you, my first question to you, Rahul, is how do you motivate and inspire your team who work from home? And how do you measure employee productivity in a work from home scenario?
So a good question, because a challenge which we never faced before, a challenge which we never thought of before, even if I try and relate it back to our work environment side, we never thought we are going to be working out of office and not working in office, or rather working from home for such an extended period of time. So we were not prepared mentally. We were not even prepared from the technology perspective when this all started. But I think once we knew that it is going to extend, initially the thought was, okay, 1 month, we'll go back, 2 months, it extended. So I think that's where people started realizing it's not a short term and it's going to extend for a longer period of time. And when this started happening, we realized that it's not just the technology, it's not just the work, it's the people who are the important link in this chain, and they are feeling the pressure. Because in a normal work from environment, you would have gone out in the evenings, enjoyed your Saturday, Sunday at leisure, had holidays and so on and so forth. But now you're restricted to a place, you're just working. And now after working, you're back in your home environment just this way. So there's no time gap for you to adjust through. And that's where we all realized, and even in our organization, when we started looking at things, it's more the people mental health piece of it. That's a challenge. How do people cope up with this pressure? One is the pandemic, work, and now being restricted to a place wherein we are not used to as humans. We always like to move around and not sit in a one place. It makes us very uncomfortable. When we look at this, talking to people, getting onto Zoom, obviously Zoom, and getting all these channels of communication, maybe at Google or anything, Teams and all. These have actually been a blessing in disguise, wherein now we could actually at least see people across. So meetings on videos, but that's just not helping. How do you enjoy with the team? How do you respect their time? It's not an environment wherein I could have a quiet place like an office with no noise. I may have kids, I may have pets, I may have parents who are old. And this is something which we all had to adjust to. Understand, what the others are going through. And probably if there is a noise in the meeting, it's fine. If there's a kid which walks in the meeting, it's fine.
Absolutely.
And how do you now work along with the team and make them feel, comfortable, not being pressurized? Oh, no, my kid should not shout. They should not be, my dad or mom should not, who's old age and not looking at me, they should not call out to me and so on. That's all perfectly fine. And over a period we got used to, but that was the initial phase wherein everyone had this in their mind. So we had to first get it out. It's normal. It's in my house, it's in your house, it's everywhere. Second thing, take time for yourself. Make time for yourself. Even though you're not going anywhere, sitting at home, still make time for yourself. Don't say that since you're at home, why do I take a leave?
Mm.
It's important to take a break. And in that break, you may want to still enjoy with us if there is a meeting, it's a fun meeting wherein we try to have, working along with the team, no work discussed, no projects discussed, no milestones discussed. Just talk, let's have fun. Let's have fun over chai. Let's have
Yes.
fun over pizza and so on. So probably these things did kick in.
Right.
And probably helping the team and supporting them in the difficult times is a major piece. I think this is what we all learned as organizations. It's not just work.
Sure.
It's more than work, is the family life. How do we help team members grow? And so I think if you motivate the team, they will deliver.
Sure.
And what at least I have seen is the team has worked much more during this time rather than what they would have seen working in office and we monitoring them and so on when we could see them. Here,
Right.
even they are remote, I think there's a good delivery which is actually coming out.
Absolutely. Rahul, what you're saying, as you were saying, I was thinking of this. Uh, the pandemic was a great leveler, right? And whether it was the CEO or whether it was somebody out there who was an executive or somebody who's just joined the company, the leveler was the pandemic, which meant that everyone was confined to their houses. So you could immediately empathize, like you're saying, with that situation because everyone else was going through the same situation, which probably didn't happen before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, but what you interestingly said was having acknowledged that, how do you then motivate the team? How do you then get them? And what you said was fantastic. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Rahul, you're a leader in your own right. A lot of viewers will have this question, and I'm going to pose this question to you.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to potential leaders getting into a leadership position for the first time? You've gone through it, you've seen it all. So could you share something from your journey in terms of what you've seen to people who are potential leaders getting into that leadership position for the first time, where they'll be leading a team of people, small, large, whatever that is?
Sure. Again, this question even actually takes me back to my days when I started as a fresher and was working in organization. So I grew myself looking at leaders and getting inspired as to what are the qualities which they possess. Why do I respect? The respect is not for the designation. The respect is for the person,
Yes.
right? So what does a person do differently that I want to work with him? I want to be around with him, and probably that's where you realize it's not just the work and milestones and achieving targets.
Yes.
It's treating people right. It's knowing your team, and trusting your team is the most important piece.
Sure.
If you trust your team, because you as a leader are as good as your team, and when can a team deliver is when you trust in them. They may fail at times, but they should understand that they need to learn from those failures, and they should also understand that you are standing with them and not against them.
Right.
And I think that's very important in the entire the leadership piece of it.
Absolutely.
If the team trusts you, they will go to any limits, they will achieve any targets, whatever you set for them. That does not mean that you have to always be say all good things to them. You have
Sure.
to obviously give them the right feedback at the right time as well. It's just the way you give the feedback is very important.
Yes. Yes. So well said. So well said. Talking about leadership, I'm going to ask you this. You've seen a lot of leaders across segments, across industries in your career. What according to you, is the one behavior or trait, or it could be more than one, that you have seen derail a lot of leaders' careers?
I I don't want to exactly mention it. I may pinpoint to some of my leaders.
You can generalize.
You can. So
Yeah.
But then probably it's again, as I said, not trusting the team and not trusting your people and keeping or macro managing the team becomes a very bad it leaves a very bad taste with the individuals. Everyone is growing, everyone is an experienced person. When we are in the industry, when we start growing up, it's not that you don't, everyone learns at a stage. You don't want to be macromanaged and being told every step that you do, and every step that you're done should be reviewed again. And oh, you did not do this right, you did not do that right. And just pointing out faults rather than now looking at opportunities where this team member can actually grow. Give them some room to grow. And probably that's where I have seen, in my career, certain leaders not growing through or even failing through at those levels as such.
Thanks for sharing that. Let me try and evoke some nostalgia here at this point. Do you remember, and I'm sure you do, because all of us do you remember receiving your first ever salary? And if you do, what did you do with that first salary?
It's a nice question, interesting question. Probably it actually takes me back from the time I graduated.
Okay.
So again, I come from a middle class family. My dad was an engineer. He was in a government firm, and I have a sister who's a doctor. And like a typical middle class India family, son hua, it's engineer, beti hui, doctor, and that's how we have grown up. And engineer finished engineering, got out. Okay, he should have a job.
Yes.
How do you have these engineers, all of these engineers get job immediately? Not possible. Everyone still expects, all relatives are, Acha, he finished engineering. What is the job?
Yeah.
Come on, guys, give time. And that's where even in between. Now, what job to choose? I'm an electronics engineer.
Yes.
What job to choose? Should I get into electronics? I have computers in my last final year. Do I get into computers? There's a liking towards computers. If I get there, is it software? Is it networks? Is it infrastructure? Where do I get into? A lot of questions. And probably at that point in time, we didn't have all these counseling and so on who could let us know and guide you through which career path to take and how to take and what to choose and how to choose and so on. It was all left to our own. Dad's busy doing his work. Mom's taking care of the house. Whom do we ask? So I actually started teaching. Let's do something. I started teaching, and it was like, what do I teach? Math, science. Okay, I'm good at it. But then why do I want to charge? I actually started teaching for free to students who could not afford it. That was not a salary which is coming in from it, but that was that mental piece which actually let me think at that time, what do I want to do? And then obviously over a period of time, I got a job. It was more into hardware, at an end user support, starting off from desktops, typically in IT career, how it starts through. But the first salary, as you said, it's very important because now I'm no job, engineering is done, relatives are waiting. Oh, he's got a job. Now what? But then that first salary piece which comes in, not whatever amount that is, the amount does not matter.
Yes.
The most happiest person, I still remember my mother's face at that point. He's got his first salary. And it was like, what do we do? Let's have a party. And probably the party was much bigger than the salary. So, but then that's the moment you don't want to miss. That's the moment which you want to capture. And probably that's the one which I still remember. And it's still very clear in front of me. The reaction when you just get home, this is my paycheck. So, yeah, thanks for taking me back in there, though.
No. These are memories. These are memories, and that is what they say. Life is made up of memories.
Yes.
Try and accumulate as many good memories as you can, because one day when we reach this stage that you and I are at, yes, there is work. But at the end of the day, when we look back, it can bring a smile to our faces, just like you're smiling right now. I'm smiling listening to it. And these are those small moments that make life worth it. Worth it.
Agree. Completely agree with you.
Uh, Coming back to your professional life, what is the best professional advice that you've ever received? And if you can share that, and also share who gave it to you, if you may.
It was my manager in my second organization. It was a BPO company. BPO was just booming, and that had just come to India, and a lot of clients coming into. And this BPO industry was like, everyone was wanting to get into it, but more from the IT perspective, trying to support that from the information technology side, implementing projects for client teams coming in. The one thing which my manager then said is, be very honest and true when you're talking to your clients. Now, if something is not possible, do not commit it, because it's a client, and don't think that the client, what he or she says, is always possible and doable. You have to be honest to yourself. You need to understand the situation, and probably then decide what is possible, not possible. Is it going to get delayed and all? So be truthful to whatever you do. And don't look at the designation. Don't look at who the person is asking you. It could be an MD of the organization. But if you feel something is right, be open enough to talk to that person and say, no, this is something that has to be done in this manner.
Right.
So probably that's very important. And believe me, this has helped me in a lot of places throughout my career. The ability to say no is probably we Indians don't do very well.
Yes.
But I think that's a very important piece which we need to understand. Be truthful. If it is no, then it's no.
You took me back in time when I was working in the professional space, and you're absolutely right. It's the ability to say no because of our upbringing, the culture that we belong to, unlike the West, where we're surrounded by our seniors, parents, and rightly so, due respect to everyone. And we've grown like that, but our mindsets, when we make that switch into the professional space, we always think of somebody who's above us, or say for example, a client like you're saying, who we believe is giving us business. Sometimes we go ahead and commit, and which obviously is going to reflect on us. And I've been in sales and marketing, and then it's going to reflect on the organization. And I was told at a very young age in my career, he says, Ivan, undercommit and over-deliver, but never overcommit ever.
Agree.
Never overcommit ever. So it makes perfect sense to me. And that ability to say no, in a polite way that is understood. And people at the end of the spectrum are intelligent enough, and they know that you've said no, because if you say yes, once we leave the room, they're going to say, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. Agree completely. And as you said, people around, we have been brought up in this, always respect your elders, whatever. Probably it's respect which we try and say. We don't say no easily.
Yes.
Or even when we say no, we don't say no direct. We say no in a very different way. We go all around, and then probably this may not be possible. So
correct. Yeah. That's it. Okay, Rahul, I love the way this conversation is going. I mean, it's fantastic. And I'm looking forward to the next part of this cutting chai conversation. Let's move on to a segment, Rahul, with your permission, which is called the short answer segment. I will pose a set of questions for you, fun questions. The idea being to get to know Rahul beyond the job designation. And, please answer in one word or one line. You don't have to justify any of the answers. All the answers are going to be right answers. There are no wrong answers, right answers, because these are your answers. So have fun in this segment.
Sure.
So shall we go?
Sure. Ready for the rapid fire.
Okay. It's not even a fire. There's no fire, and it's not going to be rapid. It's going to be very
Okay.
Yeah. Choose one of the two options: books or movies.
Movies.
Okay. Enjoy shopping or dislike shopping.
I dislike shopping.
Lovely. I'm glad you're frank. Wonderful. uh, I think this is going to go very well. Spirituality or religion?
Ah, thin line, but then
Yeah.
probably spirituality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to have more time or more money?
More time.
Okay. Pani puri or sev puri?
Pani puri, anytime.
Okay. Uh, misal pav or pav bhaji?
Both are favorite. You're asking me to choose something where
Now,
uh,
now, now you see, these seem like easy questions, but they're actually tough, right, Rahul?
yeah, right. Yeah. You both are my favorite. So, but if you still have to make a choice,
Yes.
maybe pav bhaji.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's see the next one. Since you're from your native place is Maharashtra,
Yeah.
Marathwada, very close, like you said.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to ask you is sabudana vada or alucha vada?
Okay.
You thought the previous one was tough. This is tougher.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, like, and again, just my mom used to make very good ones for both. So
Okay.
this is actually something which I used to ask her to make for me. And you're aloo vadi.
There you go.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me too. For me
Yeah.
too. And just the homemade preparation, like you're saying, right?
Agree. Yes.
Wonderful. Rahul, three things you always carry in your wallet.
I always carry in my wallet. Uh Obviously there's money, but then apart from money, it's always going to be my daughter's photographs are always there with me.
Okay.
Used to be wife's, but then daughter got replaced and she replaced it.
Okay.
Obviously cards are there. But you're talking about my wallet only, or do I carry
Wallet.
with me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
wallet
said
only.
money, you said
Money, cards, and probably my
daughter's
daughter's photograph. Yeah.
photograph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
What would you title your autobiography?
Oh, you're already making me write my autobiography now.
No, you just tell us the title. The
uh,
writing will happen later. Don't worry about it.
uh, a day and life of Rahul.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What is the
Probably.
one thing most people don't know about
People have always seen me serious.
you?
Maybe I am, but I don't feel I am that serious,
No,
and
you're not.
I'm getting someone who should be scared of me when they look at me and so on. Probably I'm not, but then that's the reaction which I always get when I interact initially. You look to be a very serious person and a very strict person and so on. So
You're not. Over the
which I'm.
past 15 minutes, I can tell you, no, you're not.
Thank you.
And I
Thank you.
think the minute you strike a chord with someone, I think
Uh-huh.
you can create a riot, an absolute riot in that room. So
Thank
so
you.
yeah. You're most welcome. Would you rather give up salt or give up sugar?
None. I don't want to give up anything.
Man, okay, that's fine. That's fair.
No, none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hear the good news first or hear the bad news first?
A good news first.
Have world peace. You only have one choice. Yeah. Have world peace or stop world hunger.
Stop world hunger.
Nice.
And that's important.
Sure.
Yeah.
Would you call a spade, or would you said you won't give up sugar or salt. So
No.
would you call a spade or sugarcoat it a little?
I'll call it a spade.
You'll call a spade a spade.
Yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat it.
That
But spade is a spade. You need to still be frank. Yeah.
Absolutely. That you're very, very clear on. I thought these were going to be the tough questions, but the tough ones were the misal pav and pav bhaji and the sabudana.
Obviously, and especially you're asking me these questions when we are 2 years inside, and pani puri and
Oh God,
everything is something which we have been longing for 2
I
years.
know.
I've been and not been to Juhu Beach and having those areas. So
Right,
yeah,
right. Okay, Rahul, a quality or trait that you admire most in people?
being honest and truthful, being frank and open as such.
Wonderful. Uh, Complete the sentence, okay? You can use more than a word. Complete the sentence. My greatest desire for my daughter is dash.
Um, I have a lot of things for her because you can't make a choice when it's a daughter, but then um, probably enjoy her life and do
Nice.
what she wants to do with her life as such. So not
Nice.
being forced by me and my wife as such. So
Sure. I'm going to put you in this situation where I don't watch news on TV anymore because dash. Complete the sentence.
because of coronavirus. So I've actually stopped watching news on TV
Right.
because the time you started off, you just see numbers and pandemic.
Sure.
It's very negative rather than looking at the positive side of it. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Behind every great man, there is, complete the sentence.
his wife.
Well said. Uh, which three people, Rahul, living or dead or fictional, would you like to have a cutting chai conversation with? You're in my shoes. You have a choice of three people across history, living, dead, whom you would like to have a cutting chai conversation.
Okay. I probably, obviously, I enjoyed with my mom, so she's one.
Sure.
Um, Probably, if you ask me, Savarkar is something whom I would surely would want to have.
Sure.
And one of my ex bosses, whom I said, he's the one who actually told me uh, how do you actually build that trust piece within your clients and be open and frank and so on.
Sure.
So probably with him. It's been a long time I've met him. I'm not sure if he's going to be seeing this, but then it's been a long time I've met him.
Right.
I surely would want to do that with him.
Wonderful. Final question in this segment.
Mhm.
Life is incomplete without dash. You can use a
Fun.
word
Fun.
without fun. Oh, Rahul, see, you did so well in this segment. Well done.
Thank you.
Right?
But then you really put difficult questions in between, wherein you made me take choices between two of all my favorite pieces of it. So
I apologize. I really apologize, but it was fun to see you go through that.
yeah,
It was fun to see you go through that.
yeah, I enjoyed it as well. So
Great,
thank you.
great.
Thanks, Evan.
Rahul, one final question before we wrap up the cutting chai conversation. If you could take a minute or so and tell us, and I'm going to ask you this straight up. What has been the toughest conversation you've had with your CEO or MD?
So when we talk security, security is always been thought as something where um, you scare people or people get scared of. Something is going to go wrong, something is going to happen, this and that, and blah blah. But security is a business enabler. Now, when we go to our leadership, like go to my CEO or MD and say, we need these many budgets, or this is the budget which I need to implement my strategy across the firm. The first thing which I don't want to do with him is scare him off saying that these are the bad things, what can go wrong, or something which could go wrong. And that's the reason I want an investment. I want him to understand how is it going to help business do that. And probably that's where the conversation that I still remember was, you always come to me, what is a good enough amount which you're going to say, or when are you going to come back to me and say, enough, I've deployed everything and now I don't need any budgets from you because I'm secure.
Right.
And probably to now tell him that, it's not something that I invested today. It's not going to be tomorrow, is going to be a different day, or rather every minute is different. Security landscape is changing every minute.
Yes.
And that was the toughest conversation, saying that even if I implement a security tool or a technology today or a process today, it may still get invalid tomorrow itself. I don't know the life of it, how long it may remain, because the attack vectors keep on changing and so on. And that actually debate, I had a half an hour conversation with him. It actually lasted for 2 hours. So it was the toughest one. I feel convincing him as to why, what, and how do you actually go about it?
Amazing. Amazing. 30 minutes or so, 25 to 30 minutes. I'm reminded of a couple of quotes after having interacted with you, Rahul. One is by Brian Tracy, where he says that become the kind of leader that people would follow voluntarily, even if you had no title or position. And from my interaction, I don't know you on a personal level, but from my interaction, you came across as that person who people would follow voluntarily. And the second quote is by Walt Disney, which is where he says that the best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And you come across as a doer. So I had a great time interacting with you, Rahul. I really liked the groundedness. I really loved your responses, not too much of management jargon, a lot of home truths. And I'm sure for the members of this audience and the viewers, there will be a lot of important takeaways. Thank you so much, Rahul. And we wish you and ZS Associates India, and more importantly, your family, the very best going forward.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It was great conversation with you. Thank you.